Hey, what's up everyone, CTNtechnologynews here, and today I'm going to be doing a rumor roundup on the upcoming iPad Air 2, which Apple is probably going to be showing off at their event next week. That would definitely make sense since this event has been rumored to be about iPads for quite a while. So the iPad Air 2 could have a lot of new features, so basically in this video, I'm just going to be going over what Apple might have planned based on rumors, specs, and leaks, and what we know so far. So let's just go ahead and get started. So first, just to get it out of the way, the price of the iPad Air 2 is probably not going to be changing. $499 has been the starting price of the iPad basically ever since the original model, so I do think that this is probably going to be unlikely to change on the iPad Air 2. If anything, Apple might take the original iPad Air and drop the price of that, but other than that, I don't think there are going to be any price differences with the upcoming model. Now, when it comes to the hardware, there are going to be some changes in the iPad Air 2. For one, it's going to be getting the new A8 processor that's, in the iPhone 6 and the iPhone 6 Plus. I think that this is a pretty obvious feature, to be honest, because, it would make sense for Apple to add this so we give it some more power. But what's more interesting is that Apple could actually be adding 2 GB of RAM to the iPad Air 2 for the very first time. That would give the iPad Air 2 double the current power of the current iPad Air, so it would allow it to run a lot more graphical apps and games, and it would give it a lot more productivity options. I think 2 GB of RAM would be a welcome feature for the iPad Air 2, and it would put it more on par with a lot of other Android alternatives right now. Now, when it comes to the design of the iPad Air 2, rumors and leaks so far have suggested it looks pretty similar to the original iPad Air. Apple probably won't be wanting to change this too much, considering that the iPad Air was a pretty big design overhaul from the previous model, the iPad 4, so, Apple might as well just stick with the cool new design. If anything, the new leaks show a slightly slimmer model of the iPad Air, so the iPad Air 2 could just be a slightly thinner version of it, which, I find that hard to even believe it's possible considering how thin the iPad Air is, but I guess you never know, and Apple is known for making their products ridiculously thin. Now, Apple probably will be putting Touch ID into the upcoming iPad Air 2. I'm surprised they actually haven't put it into their iPad line already, considering that Apple added it to the iPhone 5S more than a year ago now, and it could have really easily come to the iPad Air, but probably Apple was just working on perfecting the technology, and I definitely think that Apple is ready to put it into the iPad Air 2 at this point. I would be very surprised if Apple doesn't decide to put it into the iPad Air 2. Now, one of the most obvious things about the iPad Air 2 is that it will definitely run iOS 8, Apple's brand new operating system. Why wouldn't it run it? That would give it more continuity with OS and Yosemite, especially because it'll allow you to, start working on something on an iPad Air 2 and pick it up on an iMac. It gives the entire Apple ecosystem more continuity, which that can't be anything but a good thing. Now, anyways, I'm really excited for the upcoming iPad Air 2. I think that there's a lot of potential for this device. Previous updates to the iPad have been somewhat evolutionary rather than revolutionary, and I think the iPad Air 2 could be the time when Apple breaks away from that for good. So anyways, let me know what you'd like to see in the iPad Air 2 in the comments below. Please do give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and I will see you next time. Bye!